If you've been posting your varsity film on Twitter but still have no D1 offers, it's not because you're not good enough. It's because you're missing one of three key things, and I'm about to show you exactly what they are right here, right now. I'm Will Strock, and I went from being a first-team All-State player in high school with 0 D1 offers, ended up at a D3 where I didn't even start for 3 years, to playing linebacker in the S.E.C at Boston College as a transfer, and I didn't have any stars, connections, or improve my measurables. And I've used this exact framework to help over 50 other football players earn over $2 million in scholarship money and play D1 too. And over the next 10 minutes, I'm breaking down the S.E.C framework, the only 3 steps between you and a scholarship offer. This was the biggest difference between going D3 my first time around and going D1 my second recruiting process. And by the end, you'll understand why you're stuck and exactly what needs to change. But first, you need to understand why the old way just doesn't work anymore. Because if you keep doing what everyone else is doing, posting your film, sending generic messages, or doing more training, more camps, or more 7-on-7, then you'll keep getting the same results as everyone else too. The problem isn't your talent or your effort. You need a way to stand out, get more coaches' eyeballs on you, and turn those eyeballs into conversations, relationships, and offers. Because you know the recruiting game has changed. 15 years ago, if you were good enough, they'll probably find you, right? That was true. But today, in 2025, roster limits just cut 3,000 FBS roster spots. Coaches are busier than ever, and it's more competitive than ever too, meaning that coaches aren't going out and finding hidden talent anymore. Overall, you have less than a 2% chance of getting a football scholarship, and spots are filled with each day that passes too. But if you understand these 3 steps, you can get more attention and more offers than 3-star recruits, just like I did. So let's take it back to 2022. Sitting in my dorm room at my D3 school, I studied hundreds of star recruits, their film, their Twitter, and their journeys through college, right? And I realized that stars meant nothing once they arrive on campus. J.J. Watt was a walk-on at Wisconsin. Stetson Bennett won a national championship at Georgia, and he started as a walk-on. Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, and Aaron Rodgers were all 0-star recruits, as you see here, right? And not to mention, I was a 0-star myself. So while doing my research, I saw way more examples of star recruits quitting, transferring, or becoming career scout team players in college. And this has only gotten worse every year, with over 4,900 FBS players and over 3,200 FCS players entering the portal just last season. And that fired me up, because that meant that it was stealing opportunities from me and from you and giving them to other players just because they had, connections or natural exposure. And after all my research, I reverse engineered the process of how these recruits would go on any visit they wanted and earn dozens of D1 offers. And it wasn't talent. It was something that nobody was talking about. I realized what actually separated us, because first of all, right, it was easy for coaches to see the 3 stars, and it was hard for them to see a kid from rural Wisconsin, right, even if I was all-state or had the talent. Second, the 3 stars had way more eyeballs on them, more college coaches knew about them because they had more natural exposure. And third, because they had these imaginary stars that some guy in an office gave them, they had the highest level of trust with college coaches, and the eyeballs turned into offers naturally. So I boiled it down to 3 specific steps that any recruit with varsity film can take so they can position themselves as a star recruit. And I call it the Showcase Eyeballs Close Framework. And I know what you're probably thinking, like S.E.C, like the conference. Well, funny story, our very first athlete to use this system, KB, an offensive tackle from Mississippi, earned S.E.C offers using this exact process. So I figured that the name was pretty fitting. So how does it actually work, right? So first step is to showcase. Make it easy and effortless for coaches to see and evaluate you with attention assets and proof posts, right? Like you see here, I call it the 5-second rule. You have to showcase your ability and character in the first 5 seconds, or else they're moving on. If your Twitter doesn't tell a story or have proof, then coaches aren't going to consume your content, follow you, and message you, meaning that all of your outreach through email or DM is pretty much pointless, right? And once you've mastered Showcase, then you need to get as many coaches' eyeballs on you as possible. Like I said, star recruits get natural exposure and natural eyeballs. But I was from a small town. I was undersized at just 5'11", right? And no coaches were coming through my area or my school. So I had to create my own exposure, and I knew there was 5,314 D1 coaches that I could hit up, to be exact, meaning over 5,000 opportunities to get seen regardless of where I came from or how big my school was. And I did it all through email and Twitter outreach, but I didn't spam or use a recruiting service platform or copy and paste. But if you stick around till the end, I'll show you my exact strategy. So if you have less than 300 views on your huddle film or less than 300 followers on Twitter, it doesn't matter how good you are. You just simply aren't getting enough coaches' eyeballs on you, and nobody actually knows about you. But once you have the eyeballs, right, you know that just having views or followers doesn't mean you're going to pick up that hat on signing day. And if you've been ghosted on a visit, you probably know what I'm talking about, right? Eyeballs is how you start, but recruiting is a multi-step process to go from the opening message to a follow, to your film getting watched, to a conversation, to a phone number, a visit, and finally an offer, right? And to get there, you need to build trust and walk coaches down the line without being annoying or sounding desperate. You have to know how to follow up, when to ask for the next step, how to turn visits into offers, like I said, and how to accelerate that entire timeline like we see here so you can leapfrog yourself to the top of the recruiting board. So if you're a player with varsity film, this probably makes sense to you, and now you know what to do, but you don't actually know how to do it, right? So that leads us to how we do it, and what I call the first step is called the profile stack. And it's how you can showcase your talent, your ability, and your character, and it's the first foundational step that we help our athletes with. Think of it like building a house. If your foundation is weak, if your bio is the same as everyone else, if your pin post is a link, if your film's buried, then nothing else matters. The whole thing, the whole house is going to collapse. But when you stack each layer correctly, right, with your bio, your pin post, your optimized film, your proof content, and your attention assets, you can showcase a profile that stands out and makes it easy for your target coaches to evaluate, follow, and message you. The profile stack is what separates you from the thousands of other athletes posting their highlights and hoping someone notices. But now you need coaches to see it, right? And that's the next step. But this entire showcase step, right, this profile stack is what we call it. This is the first step for our athlete Vance, and he went from a basic Twitter to implementing our profile stack, landing his first offer, and now narrowing down his options between multiple top FCS programs. But like I said, you need coaches to actually see your profile and see what you can do, right? That's where the exposure engine comes in. And I built this because my first time around, I'd sent out about 500 messages, all manually, copy and paste through email and Twitter, and thought that it would be enough. And if you're watching this, you know that it's a numbers game, and the player with more eyeballs on him will get more offers and more opportunities to find the right fit than the more talented player with less eyeballs. The problem is sending emails from a normal Gmail, a normal email account can flag your account if you're sending too many, or they all look the same, right, with the same link. Not to mention a normal email address to a .edu email, which all coaches' emails are .edus, can go straight to spam. These have gotten more strict over the years. Also, most coaches' Twitter DMs are closed, but that means if you do it right, email and Twitter outreach, it can be one of the most powerful tools to get in front of college coaches, and not many do it right. One of the most important parts of this is the message should appear like it's coming from you and your email. Someone else sending messages on your behalf using a recruiter with connections or using a recruiting service platform to send messages is often viewed by coaches as unserious, and they know the template and just delete it right away. So what we do is a little bit different. We set up a brand new email for our athletes. We warm up the email to make sure it's going straight to their inbox, to the coach's inbox, not to their spam. And the exposure engine is done for you through email and Twitter DMs with personalized messages that look like they're coming straight from you, not a generic template or recruiting service. And when we combine these first two steps, the profile stack and the exposure engine for our athlete Taft, he got his first D1 offer in 4 days. So you can see this. This is one of his proof posts that we made, and this was the same day. So this was on May 3rd, you can see here. And 4 days later, he got his first D1 offer from Drake, which is pretty awesome. Doing it for myself, I got over 500 D1 coaches to view my highlight film and over 100 to follow me on Twitter in just 30 days, right? So for this to work, your film actually has to be good. So if your film isn't good, you can probably click off at this video, but this is exactly how I did it. This is how my emails looked. These were my stats as far as who opened it, who clicked it, who replied. You can see here some more stats too, and you can see here 515 views. And this link was only going to D1 coaches, so they couldn't go out and see it on their own, or it wasn't posted anywhere, right? Same thing with Twitter. But first time around versus second time around. Without a way to convert that attention into real scholarship offers, then I would have been stuck in the same position that I was 4 years earlier, right? With just a handful of D1 visits in high school with nothing else to show for it but a cool picture on Twitter. This was me in high school. So naturally, I built a process for myself to turn a viewer into a follower, into a DM conversation, into a phone number, into a visit opportunity, and most importantly, into an offer. And I call it the Offer Accelerator. It breaks down into 5 steps how to build trust and convert interest into offers. So how to use question-based openers to get more replies and get your foot in the door, how to demonstrate higher value in the initial conversation to go from chasing to attracting, how to ask qualifying questions that flip the script and have coaches try to impress you instead of the other way around, and how to build trust and follow up without being annoying or just sending your film each week like everyone else does. Finally, though, how to close by asking the right questions to at least know where you stand and convert interest and visits into actual offers. Like you see here, this is the exact process of how we do it, from eyeballs to openers, to demonstrate higher value, to the qualifying questions, to the trust building, to the closing, to go from emails, a follow or a film watch, interest, phone number, visit, offer, and commit, obviously, right? And it's exactly how our athletes have not only landed tons of D1 visits, right, but offers and commitments as well. And the main thing that I want to stress here is that this process has worked time and time again, right? Like our guy Taft earned multiple D1 offers and is still uncommitted. First client, KB, like I showed you, says just lock in with the program. Our guy Josh giving us a shout out here as well. Same thing with Nick. Chase and his dad, super grateful for our guidance and our program. Caleb getting recruited D1. Same with Matthew and Brett. Our guy Jonah said he went from unranked to number 3 in the state. Program is legit, and the people who run it are even better people. I appreciate you, Jonah. Our guy Tim earning multiple scholarship offers here and committing D2 to Northern Michigan. And overall, I can credit this system to earning millions of dollars in scholarship money between my athletes and I, meaning that it's the most effective way to earn scholarship offers, even if you don't have stars or connections. And all of these steps work right now in today's football recruiting game. And for those of you who are actually serious about playing college football, if you want to avoid the guesswork in the process that you only really get one shot at right in this whole thing, I have something for you. All the people I just mentioned are a part of my community called Athletes University, where we do all this for you and we hold your hand throughout the entire process. So my team and I are going to work with you one-to-one to build your profile stack, the exposure engine, and the offer accelerator like I walked you through here, and we'll work with you until you earn a scholarship offer that you're satisfied with. It's still going to take work, obviously, but it's a much more straightforward process and stress-free experience than trying to guess what to do on your own. Ultimately, though, this isn't for everyone, so to be eligible, you need varsity film. You and your family have to believe in your ability, so you've probably done the training, the camps, or the 7-on-7 already. You have to have a 3.0 GPA or above, and obviously when opportunities like visits or junior days come your way, you and your family have to be ready and financially able to travel and maximize those opportunities. So if you're interested and you think you'd be a good fit and your film could qualify, there's going to be a link in the description below to book a call with our team and see if we can help.